Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox, where we talk about all things Xbox from the original to the Series X, and today we're talking about Dante's Inferno. Released in 2010 for the Xbox 360 as well as the PS3 and PSP, it was published by EA and developed by Visceral Games, the same team that made the Dead Space series. In this game, you play as Dante, a Templar knight who is dragged to hell to rescue his lover from Satan, based off the classic tale, The Divine Comedy. And I remember this game back in the day having a ton of controversy behind it. They had this concept for a weird motion-controlled praying game that they promoted that ended up being fake, and they actually had a fake protest in front of E3 to promote this game. And I think these fake controversies were the main things that we took away from this game and is what is remembered now. We don't really talk about this game from a gameplay standpoint or just, the game in general. And looking back on it, I never really played this game, so I'm not too sure why it was forgotten. It could be that just because Visceral Games shut down, or 2010 was just a really good year for gaming and a lot overshadowed it. But it's available through EA Play, which you can get through Game Pass, so I have it, and I decided to pick this one up and give it a shot. And the first thing that I noticed when I started up this game just playing it, that it is exactly like classic God of War games. You control Dante in the third person, and you have a huge scythe, and you go around hitting huge combos killing enemies. Pathways are blocked till you kill them all. You even go to fountains to claim upgrades and heal yourself, and exploration feels exactly like exploring God of War's levels. It even has a lot of the same level transitions here. It feels like they decided to take the Kratos going to Hades sections and just stretch it out to the entire game. And the thing is, though, God of War is an extremely fun game. And you know what? Dante's Inferno is an extremely fun version of that game. I don't think it has quite the variety that the God of War games have, especially because you only end up with one real physical weapon, but it feels great to hack and slash enemies and move around these areas. You end up building up extremely huge combos, and you're weaving between flying enemies and enemies on the ground, and it's a blast to roll through. It's the kind of fast-paced, high-octane action that keeps hack and slashers like this entertaining from start to finish. And you know what? The environments add so much to this game, and it's a really great game to look at. It's absolutely disgusting, and I love that for this game. It uses a lot of blood, and bodies are writhing on the walls screaming, and there's giant pits of flames. It's not hell in like, oh, that's so awesome and cool heavy metal sense. It's hell at its most disgusting and worse. It's not fun, and it's an awful landscape filled with horrible enemies that are as equally as vile as the look of everything. A lot of them fitting into what circle of hell you're in. Gluttony is going to have large exploding enemies, and the grossest ones were probably from the Lust area, an area that's hard to even show in this YouTube video. This game is full of nudity, and it is especially here. And there's enemies crawling out of maybe some of the grossest places imaginable. And it's obvious that Visceral here went the extra mile when designing the look of this game. The world building is as gross as it needs to be. I do think, though, that they pushed it maybe just a little to the extreme in the audio department. That's where I take a little bit of issue in the world building. It's way too loud and it's a bit too extreme. And I totally get it, hell is not supposed to be a nice sounding place, but a lot of the time the background audio is just people screaming or moaning, and it hardly ever takes a break. I get that it's a world building, but it just becomes a grating experience after a while, and you're likely to just turn down the game just like I did. But other than that, I think the world building here is awesome, and you mix it with this great God of War style gameplay. I had a blast the entire time. I beat this game in about 7 hours, which I think was a perfect length for this game. I do feel like maybe it overextended itself in its finale. It really tried to stretch out the length of the game with a 10 trial challenge mode that you have to go through, where you have to do weird challenges using maybe only one item, or you have to kill everybody in one giant combo. It was at least a little bit fun, but I think the section after that, where you get to the final boss, you have to cross over an ice bridge, and you have to slowly tiptoe over cracking ice. It is the only time in this game I really felt like I was slow. The rest of the game I was fast running through everything, but this game now forced me to go extremely slow. It's literally before the final boss, and it feels like it's stretched out forever. I don't think that it's a huge ding because it's barely even part of the game. I just thought it was a weird choice to throw at the end of the game. I think all they had to do was throw in just a little bit more combat at the end of the game and maybe get a little bit more use out of its relic system. It's a system where you pick up these collectible items and you can equip them to yourself to make certain powers stronger, or you get more experience. And I think slowing down this process and not really delving into this makes it feel unfleshed out. This game really needed a sequel because I feel like a sequel could have perfected on what made this one work. I'm really sad that EA kind of gave up on this one and Visceral Games shut down. They even made an animated movie for this game, so I feel like they had a lot of hope for it, but for some reason it never quite got what it deserved. And I know a lot of people got upset over it being a God of War knockoff almost, but I think it matches that game's fun. It's not quite as polished, of course, but God of War is God of War. It's a fun game, and I think Dante's Inferno is surprisingly fun, and it's sort of a hidden gem that nobody really talks about anymore. It's available on EA Play through Game Pass, so I definitely recommend checking this out if you're really into a well-designed, disgusting, fast-paced experience. And on my ranking list, this one ends up at number 5 for Xbox 360 games. It's better than Stranglehold. I feel like Dante's Inferno is a more polished, well put together game, but we got 4 games above Dante's Inferno because we covered some really great stuff. But if I were to choose a horror game to jump into, surprisingly, I think I would rather go into Condemned 2 for world building experiences. But that about wraps it up for today here at Campbox. If you have any Dante's Inferno memories, recommendations, please put in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to see more. But I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.